Right. But between those two.
Yes.
How about if I just give her the stickers too?
Sure, do you want to give her the permanent markers?
Oh, I don't,
He has one right here.
I may need it.
I'll have attention on that.
Here, what?
I got it. I got a free one. Probably doesn't have very much of it.
What you writing over there? What you writing over there?
Every single thing you said.
All right. All right, I'm gonna spice it up for you then.
Good. I don't know if you could do much better than they've already done.
That's true.
Oh my God, I said after your opening, I thought I might go wear my wee peak. I'm gonna tell them to hire you off my divorce.
I'm with you. Let me tell you right now.
We'll talk.
Plays golf with Ben Atwater and Todd Roper and Josh Lee over there and Chatham County, they're all his buddies, and they're like,
Oh, yeah.
he goes, well, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, Paul. Is it? No. Oh, you are? I'll go down, you don't.
okay.
That's gonna go, bump heads.
Bump it, yes.
What's that? You got it? What's that? I had left, I didn't know you were. Yeah. No, but Jonathan and I started together when I was in, he was on C shift in St. Pete. I was dating one of the officers from C shift. And, we just.
No, we got it.
And with his sisters, and that's my hair.
Reconstruction instructor was dead last.
Ms. Sawyer Brown, I will be attempting to use the stuff, the screens. First witness, I'm going to introduce, I don't actually, I think we have to put it on the screen because it's an audio thing, but I don't know if you're able to do just the audio. So what I plan to have on the screen is like basically Windows Media Player, a black, you know that thing where it's like a black screen, all you do is hear something? Oh, yeah. I don't know what to do about that.
It was not gonna be up on the screen, right?
Well, kind of. So let me open Windows Media Player.
Right, had it open already.
How about this? I'll have the nccourts.org homepage open. I know, I don't really want it.
Yeah, it was just being smart, man.
All right, so,
We'll see.
so, y'all, if this ends up being on the screen for a minute, the nccourts.org homepage, that, I don't think that's prejudicial.
We are just fine with that, so.
Okay.
It has, that homepage has the Barrington Smith logo.
Little did we know.
Would not surprise me. What are you doing? Make sure I can get go wrong. This is for later.
I haven't noticed, I mean, when they touch things on the table, sometimes you can hear a little bit. It's good to me. I'd rather be 2009.
this, Mrs. Travis?
Finally.
Finally, see that? I'm grateful. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, me and my comments here just need to be kept to myself.
So I guess this
Yeah, that's what I,
shows you that, and then,
that's just for people like me that don't do well on spatial. I think I need a map.
yeah, I want to avoid that as much as we can. Not for today. This one, but Joseph Neighbor says he's comfortable being able to say what this is, what it depicts. And he's gonna, he said he's even comfortable stepping down. I'm gonna hold his thing if he points out.
Oh, you did? Yes.
Yeah.
This.
Couldn't think of the name at the very moment. Apologize. Oh, there's an easel. Yes, we do. Somewhere that's locatable. We have one locatable. The one that we have in the, it's not locatable. It's locked up in the office. Why is it yours?
Because it came from another courthouse and it was ordered, I don't know, like it's,
Yeah, she shares right up behind it. So I think that's
whenever you need it.
It's gonna be tough.
there. No, it was yours and you weren't there.
Because of what, because of the angle of it? It's just-
Dana was,
Yeah. Careful. Quiet. I mean, so, but I won't get too much. Yeah.
Court back in session, remain seated and come forward.
Fraction reflect, jury's asked from the court, anything the record state?
Your Honor, just ask the court's permission with at least one of our early witnesses. I'll be asking them to use an overhead aerial map of the area of I-40 to illustrate their testimony. They've been prepared for this. I've prepped them with the exhibit. I've shown the exhibit to the defense. And I will be asking they be permitted to step down so they can point to spots on the map to illustrate their testimony.
No objection, Your Honor.
That'd be fine. Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, defense.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
You may invite you to listen.
We'll ask him to go around too.
Oh, for sure.
Yes, sir.
We need to get
Thank you.
between the citizens. Can you have us on behalf of the state of North Carolina?
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Joseph Neighbors.
Left hand on the Bible and raise your right. Do you solemnly swear the testimony that you give this court and jury to be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. You may proceed.
Witness will state.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, please state and spell your name for the record.
Joseph Neighbors,
Last name spelling?
Neighbors.
Ghbous.
Without giving a specific address, just tell me where do you live?
Mebane,
Okay. Where are you from?
Hillsborough.
Okay.
Mhm.
What do you do for a living?
Shop manager.
Okay. You don't have to give the name of the company, but just a little more specifically, what do you do?
Sheet metal,
Okay.
stainless, just fabrication.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a side job?
Yes.
What's that?
Security at a nightclub,
Okay. What town is that in?
Durham.
Okay. I'm going to direct your attention to the early morning hours of July 19th of 2015 at about 3 a.m. Where were you?
On 85.
Okay. Where were you coming from? Where were you going to?
I was coming from work, headed home.
Okay. Was that the security at the nightclub?
Mhm.
Okay. What direction of 85 were you traveling on?
South.
Okay. And at about 3 a.m., did anything unusual occur?
I had headlights coming towards me.
Okay. What lane of travel were you in?
Left lane.
Okay. And what lane of travel were the headlights in?
Left lane.
As in your left?
Yeah.
Was it in the same lane?
Yeah.
Okay. What happened next?
I moved over to the right.
Okay. If you were to estimate about the distance between the front of your car and the front of the headlights car at the time you moved over, how would you estimate that distance?
Maybe 1.5 of this from here to the wall, maybe almost 2 lengths of this room.
Okay.
Yeah, 1.5 to 2.
Do you know about what speed you were traveling?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you know what the speed limit is on that road?
65, I believe.
Okay. Can you say whether or not you were going very far off, up or down from the speed limit?
Just right around the speed limit.
Okay. All right, so you saw the headlights and you got over. What happened next?
I fumbled for my phone. I looked in the mirrors and called 911 and turned around and looked and couldn't see him.
Okay, so by the time you looked to see if you could see the car behind you, it was not visible to you anymore?
Right.
Okay. And you called 911?
Yes.
Okay. Since the time you've made that 911 call, have you had occasion to hear a recording of that 911 call?
Yes.
Okay. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Neighbors, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification purposes at State's Exhibit 2. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
What is it?
It's the 911 call.
How do you know this is your 911 call?
The initial that,
Okay. And have you seen this disc played in a computer to hear what's on it?
yes.
And having heard it, are you sure that that is your voice and your 911 call?
Yes.
Okay. This time I would seek to enter into evidence State's Exhibit 2 and request a jury report here.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Motion allowed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Like that jury here.
19th, 2015, 3 hours, 4 minutes, 23 seconds.
Orange County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Yeah, there's a Jeep going northbound 85 on the southbound side, in between Buckhorn Road and the Eflin exit. He just went past the way station.
He's on the southbound side?
Yeah, going northbound.
Okay. How long did you pass him?
Well, I'm getting off at Buckhorn Road now, and I passed him right about where the scales are. And he's not driving slow. It's a Jeep Wrangler. Probably a 99 to a mid-2000s model.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and notify Highway Patrol and the Sheriff's Office. If you could just verify your name and number for me.
Joseph Neighbors, 919-201-1985.
All right, Joseph. Thank you very much for calling.
Thank you.
Bye.
July 19th, 2015, 3 hours, 6 minutes, 14 seconds.
So that was you?
Yes.
Okay. From your view of the vehicle, did it ever change lanes from being in the left lane?
I've never seen it change lanes.
Okay. That night, did you hear anything else about it?
No.
How, if ever, did you find out that something else had happened related to that Jeep?
Monday when I went to work, I got on my computer and looked at the news and seen it.
Okay. And then were you contacted later by some law enforcement officers to give a follow-up interview?
Yes.
Okay. And so, other than what you've already told us, do you remember anything else about your observations of the Jeep that night?
Just it was a Jeep.
When you said it's not going slow, what do you mean by that?
Well, when I looked in my mirrors and turned around and looked, and he done topped the hill, you know, he was gone.
Okay.
Which I was hoping he got off at the exit, but, you know, couldn't see anything that way.
Okay. Were you on a straight stretch of road where you were, or were there hills or curves?
There's a hill right there at Eflin.
Okay.
On that exit.
If you were able to use an overhead map of this area of the highway, would it help illustrate your testimony?
Yeah.
Here, I'd like to request permission for the witness to step down to illustrate his testimony.
You gonna walk the map?
I will, Your Honor, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, first may I approach the witness?
Yes.
Sir, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 3. Do you know what this is?
Yes.
What is it?
It's a map, right?
A map of what?
85 Eflin area.
Does this map depict the area of highway you were on when you witnessed the events you testified to?
Yes.
Would use of this map help you in illustrating your testimony as to what you saw and where you saw it for the jury?
Yeah.
Okay. Now may I request that the witness be allowed to step down? I'm sorry.
Move it into evidence for the purpose of illustrating, explaining
Yes.
his testimony.
I'd like to move States 3 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, sir.
Motion allowed. You may stand down.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir, you may move around to be
Thank
able
you,
to
sir.
see. Ladies and gentlemen, of the jury, if at any time, something's presented to you, you're not able to see it clearly, you're not able to hear something you think you're supposed to see, do not sit silent. Raise your hand, yell out, stand up, do something so that I have your attention. It's important that you're able to see what you're supposed to see and that you're able to hear what you're supposed to hear. You may continue.
If you could step over to the exhibit. Could you point on this map where you, just generally where you're coming from, going to, which way? And try your best, if you can, to do it in a way so that the jurors can see where you're coming from.
Well, it's coming from Durham. Right here is F and exit. There's like a little hill right here, a little bit out right in here. Which scales it like it's far off, but it's not that far off. It's in the picture.
Okay. To the best of your recollection, where did you meet the Jeep?
Right about here.
Okay. All right.
That's the hill.
And then where?
We're going downhill this way.
Okay. And when you say the scales, what is that referring to?
The way station.
Okay. And you believe referred to having gotten off on a certain exit. Can you point that out?
Oakland Road.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. No further questions on direct.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, we have no questions of this witness.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Noble. Any objection to him being released?
No objection.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Brother Evans, Dave.
Your Honor, I have States 2. It's been moved into evidence, but I'm ready to convey it to the clerk first.
Yes.
Thank you.
State will call Clint Story. Is there anybody here to get Clint Story? She's on it. Good.
Left hand on the Bible, raise your right. Do you solemnly swear testimony that this court and jury speak the truth and nothing but the truth so help you God? I do.
Witness with you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, please state your name for the record.
It's Clint Story.
Can you spell your last name?
S-T-O-R-E-Y.
Okay. You don't have to give an exact address, but generally, where do you live?
In Gibsonville, North
Okay.
Carolina.
And what do you do?
I do restaurant maintenance.
Okay. Are you married?
Yes.
Okay. Where were you at around 3 a.m. on July 19th, 2015?
I was headed home from a friend's house, about in the Hillsboro, Eflin area.
Okay. Were you with anyone?
Yeah, I was with my wife.
Okay. Had you been in a social gathering of some kind? Okay. Had you been drinking that night?
No.
Okay. And at around 3 a.m. as you were driving, what road were you on?
I was on Interstate 4085.
Okay. And around that time, did anything unusual occur?
Yes, I saw a Jeep heading the wrong way on the interstate.
Okay. What lane were you in?
I was in the far right lane, headed, I guess, east, or west, I'm sorry.
Okay. And what lane was the Jeep that passed you in?
It was in the far left lane.
Okay. What'd you do next?
So when I saw him, I pulled off onto the Eflin exit and called 911.
Okay. You said your wife was with you. To your knowledge, did she see the Jeep?
No, she was on her phone at the time,
Okay.
and she didn't see it.
Okay. Since you made that 911 call, have you had occasion to hear a recording of that 911 call?
Yes.
Okay. May I approach the witness?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 4. Do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
That's my 911 recording.
How do you know it's yours?
I listened to it and I put my initials right there.
Okay. And then contemporaneous, well, when you listen to it, could you say with confidence that the voice you heard on the 911 call was yours?
Absolutely.
Okay. Your Honor, this time the state would seek to enter into evidence states 4 and request a jury exhibition.
Any objection?
No, sir.
Motion allowed.
Okay. I'll move on. So, after you made the 911 call, what happened next?
After I called and got off the phone with him, continued to drive home. I got home and just kind of searched the internet to see what the outcome was, if there was any yet. I didn't see anything, and I went to bed. I woke up around 1 and searched again, and that's when I found there had been an accident.
Okay. Backing up a little bit, as best you can estimate, how far off were you able to first see the Jeep before you came into contact with it?
I seen it from quite a ways, just because it seemed like the lights were a little brighter than normal. But then I guess he went down, there's a hill in between us, and he came over the hill, probably maybe 100 yards in front of me, and that's when I really knew that it was on the wrong side of the road.
Okay. How long have you been driving?
How old am I? 32, 16 years.
Okay. Have you driven on interstate highway before?
Oh, yeah.
In the course of doing that, is it fair to say you have seen cars going in the opposite direction before, maybe not on the same side, but gone down a highway going opposite cars before?
Not personally.
Okay.
I mean, before that night.
Let me clarify my question. Did you take a highway to get here today?
I did.
Okay. At some point, were you on, divided or not, on that highway, was there traffic coming the other direction on the correct side of the road?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
I said right. That might have been what, okay. So you have been in a position of observing vehicles going the opposite direction before, just not on your side?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know about how fast you were traveling?
I was going 70.
Okay. And to the best of your estimation, how fast was the Jeep going when it passed you?
I mean, I'd say at least the speed limit.
Okay. And you may have said this, I want to clarify, where on, relative to exits or otherwise, where on 85 were you when you passed the Jeep?
I was in between the 40-85 split and Efland.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, did you eventually find out that something had happened as a result of this wrong way driving?
Yes.
Okay. How did you find that out?
Internet.
Okay. And were you contacted at some later stage by someone to follow up with what you might have seen that morning?
Not until the trial.
Okay. Were you contacted by somebody in our office and
Yes.
conducted an interview over the phone?
Yes.
Based upon the best of your recollection, is there anything that you remember from that incident that you haven't told us about today?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. All right. No further on direct.
Thank you, Your Honor. We'll have no questions for this witness. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Any objections to being released from this offense?
No, sir.
No, Your Honor.
Thanks, sir. Further evidence, Dave? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Right. Your Honor, if I could just inquire, I guess my position would be this has been properly authenticated and entered into evidence. I know it's not been published. I'd like to reserve permission to publish it at a later time.
Any objections?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. The state would next call Rob Barron.
Left hand on the Bible, raise your right. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you have to give this court and jury will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may proceed.
Finish me.
Sir, please state your name for the court.
Robert L. Barron, Jr.,
And how do you spell your last name?
B-A-R-R-E-N.
And what do you do for a living?
I work for the state of North Carolina, the Orange and Chatham County District Attorney's Office as an investigator.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
About 10 years now.
Okay. Were you requested by by me or others in our office to assist in the preparation of this case for trial?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Was one of your duties in that preparation to follow up with witnesses and prepare them for their testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Specifically, were you requested to follow up with a witness by the name of Rodney Crutchfield?
That's correct.
Okay. And just generally, what did you understand Mr. Crutchfield as having his role in this case?
He was a witness that also saw the vehicle traveling in the opposite direction on I-85.
Okay. In the course of your follow-up with him, did you discover anything out of the ordinary that might have occurred with Mr. Crutchfield?
Yes, I did.
What was that?
He was deceased.
Okay. And what, if in any way, did you confirm that he had passed away?
One way of confirming that was his DMV. As I normally do when I'm looking for someone, the first thing I do is check their NC DMV records to look for an address or possible locating. And it's indicated on his DMV record that he is deceased.
Okay. Thank you. All right. No further questions for this witness on direct.
Thank you, Your Honor. We'll have no questions for this witness. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir. You stand there.
Thank you.
Stay.
Yes. The state would call Trooper Trueblood.
Left hand on the Bible and raise your right. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this court jury to be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Sir, please state your name for the court.
Fred Trueblood Jr.
Okay. And what do you do for a living?
I'm a trooper with the North Carolina State Highway Patrol.
More specifically, what do you do with the patrol?
I'm assigned to the crash reconstruction unit, permanently assigned.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's fine. And with the understanding that at a later time we're going to, well, I should ask this question. Were you assigned to investigate this case we're here for today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. For purposes of today, I'm going to ask you about a very specific part of your role in that. Did you, was part of your duties in investigating this to follow up with 911 callers who had alerted 911 originally to the Jeep going the wrong way on 85 on the morning of July 19th, 2015?
It was, and I did.
Okay, thank you. And did you do this type of follow-up with a witness by the name of Rodney Crutchfield?
I did.
Okay. Did you conduct an interview with him in some form?
I did.
How did you do that?
We had set up an in-person interview, and he didn't make it, so I was able to reach him on his telephone later.
Okay. And did you make and record a interview with him at that time?
I did.
Okay. During the course of that interview, did he give you information as to where he was when he saw the wrong way driver?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did he give you information as to what viewpoint he had relative to that driver?
He was in the third lane.
Objection, Your Honor.
So is the, yes or no, did he give you that information as to what his viewpoint was?
Yes.
Okay. Did he, from the context of your interview with him, did he give you information as to how long he was able to observe the driver?
Yes.
Okay. May we approach?
Yes, sir.
No further questions for this witness
This time.
at this time.
Anything?
Thank you, Trooper Trueblood. We'll have no questions for you, sir.
Thanks, sir. You stand for there.
Still we'll call Caitlin Sparrow.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony about you give this jury to be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Please state your name for the court.
Caitlin Sparrow,
And how do you spell your last name?
Sparrow.
Okay. What do you do for a living?
I'm a 911 telecommunicator.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
3.5 years.
All right. On the early morning of July 19th of 2015, were you working at around 3 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay. Did you receive some calls related to someone driving the wrong way on I-40, I-85 in between Mebane and Hillsborough?
Yes.
Okay. Did you receive one call from someone who identified themselves as Rodney Crutchfield?
Yes.
Okay. Without going into the substance right now of that call, in the call, did the person give you identifying information, including their name?
Yes.
Okay. And did you receive a telephone number from Mr. Crutchfield when he called?
Yes.
Okay. Since that call was made, have you since had an opportunity to hear a recording of that phone call?
Yes.
Okay. May I approach the witness?
Yes.
5.
I'm showing you what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 5. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
What is it?
This is the recording of Rodney Litchfield from my 911 call.
Okay. What is his name?
Rodney Crutchfield.
Okay. And how were you able to correct that? Is his name on the disc?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you know this is the recording of his call?
My initials are on the call.
Okay.
Or on the CD.
And have you seen this disc played and heard what is played when you play it on a computer?
Yes.
And can you testify that the recording that plays is the same one, is a recording of your conversation with Mr. Crutchfield on that morning?
Yes.
Okay. This time, the state would seek to enter State's 5 into evidence and request a jury exhibition.
Objection, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm going to excuse you to the jury room for just a few moments. While you're in the jury room, it is your duty not to talk among yourselves about this case. Neither should you form or express an opinion about any issue in this trial during this time. Please leave your notes in your seats and you're excused to the jury room. Rachel, you flat the jury's absent from the courtroom. If you'll play that for us, then I'll know where we're shooting at.
Yes, Your Honor. Yeah, this one I would be bothered. The last one I didn't care.
All I'm saying is the problem with the computer.
Okay, so far.
Nineteenth, 2015, 3 hours, 6 minutes, 4 seconds.
Orange County 911, what's the address of the emergency?
My name is Rodney Crutchfield. I'm on the interstate, headed towards Buckhorn Road. I'm going like towards Burlington.
Okay.
The guy on the wrong side, he's coming down the wrong side of the road on the interstate. He's in a Jeep.
Okay. Okay, I think we've gotten a call about him. Can you tell what type of vehicle it is?
I think it's a Jeep, like a Wrangler Jeep or something.
Okay, yeah, we're receiving multiple calls about it.
Okay, all right.
Are you? I'm sorry?
I already passed him, but he's really flying down the road like he's doing maybe like 90 miles an hour plus.
Okay, yeah, we've gotten calls about it, okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
July 19th, 2015, 3 hours, 7 minutes, 55 seconds.
Yes.
Your Honor, it's the state's contention that This is clearly fits within the present sense impression exception to the hearsay rule. From the context of this call, it is obvious he is making it at the time or immediately thereafter. The whole purpose of the present sense impression exception is that it is not done in a manner and a way that someone is likely to have had a cool time to conjure something untrue, that there is inherent truthfulness when people make statements in this context. The timing, the foundation for this being very close in time is that the timestamp is almost exactly the same time as the previous live caller that didn't pass away since this happened. It is certainly falls within that exception. It is reliable. Obviously, were he a live witness, then he could give more than he can give on here, but it doesn't change the fact that the jury should be deprived of hearing from someone who was there and gave a description of what he saw.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. We object to this recording of Mr. Crutchfield being played before this jury. Your Honor, this is hearsay, and no exception to the hearsay rule applies. These are testimonial statements. We believe that this violates the Confrontation Clause of the Sixth Amendment. Our client shall enjoy the right to be confronted by witnesses who are going to testify against him. Obviously, if Mr. Crutchfield can't be here to sit in that witness stand, we can't cross-examine him and probe his credibility and check the reliability of this out-of-court statement. Furthermore, we filed a pretrial motion challenging lay opinions on the estimate of speed. There's very clearly a lay opinion about the estimate of our client's speed at the end of that call that we find highly objectionable, potentially prejudicial, and the law is clear in North Carolina that a proper foundation must be laid for the jury to hear a lay witness give an opinion about an estimate of speed, and that foundation simply does not exist here. So for all those reasons, Your Honor, we ask you to exclude any evidence and keep it out of this trial.
Well, I take it what you object to is his statement that he was speeding 90 miles an hour or what? Is that what he says?
90 plus, I think.
90 plus hours or plus. You don't have any objections to the rest of it?
No, sir. But we certainly have an objection to that latter part.
Well, Your Honor, I will say, although you've indicated they're not going to be compelled by this argument, but I'd like to put on the record that given that there was a follow-up interview done in which foundation was laid, frankly, I would contend that the only reasonable inference made from the 911 call itself, absent the follow-up interview, is that he was on the highway and saw it. The cases where speed estimations have been excluded involve people who turned their head at the last minute before a collision and saw a vehicle for 20 or 30 feet. He said he was traveling on I-85, which means he was on the same highway as he was. He said the direction, which means he was on the same side as he was, which I would contend lays more than enough foundation to say he saw this vehicle for more than a period of 20 to 30 feet. And so I would ask the court to find that it clearly fits within the hearsay exception and that foundation has been laid for him to make that speed estimation. And the alternative, of course, I'd ask for a redacted recording of the 911 call be admitted.
Anything further?
Your Honor, just that the ultimate test here, I believe, is reliability, and based on the two witnesses that have come before, this 90-plus mile an hour opinion seems out of line and inherently unreliable. So we just ask you to exclude the part about speed.
Well, I'll allow the tape in, but I'm going to let you redact his statement about the 90 miles per hour because I don't know what position he was in.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I think that's unfairly prejudicial to the defendant, while the other part is not.
Okay. Would the court like for me to play it again so we can agree where that, I don't want to make a mistake.
He was traveling 90 miles an hour or what? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. The very end where he sort of volunteers the speed. So, I mean, I think there's a logical cutoff point where the witness says, we've got a number of calls about this already, thank you very much, and then he just kind of keeps talking. That would be my suggestion.
I'll go ahead and put a finer point on it because our contention, he says some language that describes the driving that doesn't give a speed estimation, which we would contend is not a speed estimation and therefore is admissible just before that. So that's why I'm suggesting maybe we play it and you decide more specifically.
Play the end of it.
Okay. Are we on?
4 seconds.
Okay, all right, I'm just,
You're not, are you, I'm sorry?
I'm already past him, but, you know, like, he's really flying down the road, like, he's doing maybe like 90 miles an hour plus.
Okay, yeah, we've gotten calls about it, okay?
State's contention would be that there's a specific law as to speed estimation.
After he says he's really flying down the road, then the rest of it's out.
Yes, Your Honor.
Got that?
But really flying down the road is also included in being excluded.
No, you can say that.
You're not, are you, I'm sorry?
I'm already past him, but, you know, like, he's really flying down the road, like,
Stipulated that, Your Honor.
115.
Are you in good shape on being able to bring the jury in?
I am, Your Honor.
Great.